Welcome back to the channel, basketball fans. If you thought you knew the landscape of the NBA, if you thought you had a firm grasp on the future of this league, I need you to throw absolutely all of that out the window right now. What has transpired over the last 24 hours is not just a reshaping of rosters. It is a fundamental earthquake that has shattered the foundational storylines we have been obsessively following. We are staring at a reality where loyalty, family ties, and championship aspirations have collided in the most brutal, spectacular fashion imaginable. Today, we are breaking down two massive, league-altering bombs that just dropped, and I promise you, the ripple effect of these moves will be felt for the next decade. First, in a move that is sending absolute shockwaves through Hollywood and the sports world at large, LeBron James has officially departed the Los Angeles Lakers. Let that sink in. But the story isn't just about where LeBron is going to chase his next ring. The real story, the dark, complex, and deeply uncomfortable narrative, is who he is leaving behind. By exiting Los Angeles, LeBron has effectively abandoned his son, Bronny James, in the most ruthless, unforgiving sports market on the planet. We are going to examine why so many people around the league are calling this move unnecessarily cruel, and what it means for a young player who is now completely exposed without his father's protective shield. And as if that wasn't enough to completely break the internet, our second major story involves another Los Angeles superstar packing his bags. Kawhi Leonard, the two-time Finals MVP, has been traded. And he isn't just going anywhere. He is heading back to the North. The Los Angeles Clippers and the Toronto Raptors have finalized a blockbuster trade that sends Kawhi back to the franchise he delivered a championship to back in 2019. The sheer magnitude of this trade, the assets involved, the desperation of the Clippers to get off his contract, and the incredible, almost reckless gamble by the Toronto Raptors is staggering. We are going to unpack every single draft pick, every young player, and every hidden motive behind this massive swap. So grab a drink, settle in, and get comfortable, because for the next 15 minutes, we are going deep into the psychological warfare, the salary cap gymnastics, and the cold, hard business of the National Basketball Association. The off-season is officially off the rails, and we are breaking it all down right now. Let's begin with the situation unfolding in Los Angeles, because the human element of this story is impossible to ignore. To truly understand the gravity of LeBron James leaving the Lakers and why the word cruel is being thrown around by insiders and analysts, we have to rewind the clock and look at how this entire ecosystem was built. For years, LeBron James made his ultimate career goal incredibly clear. He wanted to share an NBA court with his son. It was a beautiful, historic ambition. And because LeBron James is arguably the most powerful athlete in the history of team sports, he willed that ambition into existence. He leveraged his immense value to the Lakers franchise, implicitly making it known that keeping him in purple and gold meant securing Bronny's future. The Lakers, an organization desperate to keep their superstar happy and maintain their championship window, obliged. They drafted Bronny James. They gave him a guaranteed contract. They orchestrated the unprecedented media circus that surrounded their first game together. During that time, LeBron was the ultimate heat shield. Los Angeles is a city that eats its young. The Lakers fan base expects nothing short of absolute perfection and championship banners. But as long as LeBron was in the building, Bronny was safe. If Bronny missed 5 straight shots, the media narrative would focus on LeBron's triple-double. If Bronny looked overwhelmed on defense, the coaching staff, fully aware of who was really running the team, would gently guide him through it. LeBron's massive shadow provided a cool, comfortable shade for his son to develop in without the searing heat of expectations. But now that shadow is gone, LeBron James has packed up his talents and exited the building, leaving his son entirely on an island. And the island he is leaving him on is incredibly hostile. The Los Angeles Lakers are not a rebuilding franchise that will patiently wait for a second-round pick to develop into a rotational player. They are a win-now organization. With LeBron gone, the entire power dynamic of the locker room shifts overnight. The franchise will now look to maximize the prime years of their other superstars. Think about the situation Bronny is now waking up to. The coaches who were implicitly tasked for protecting him no longer have to answer to his father. The front office, which may have secretly harbored doubts about Bronny's NBA readiness, is no longer handcuffed by LeBron's presence. if Bronny struggles in training camp. There is no superstar father to advocate for his minutes. He will be judged purely on his own merits, which is how professional sports should work, but he is forced to do so while carrying the heaviest surname in basketball history. This is the crux of the cruelty. LeBron brought his son into the most exclusive, high-stakes VIP room in the world, a room Bronny arguably would not have entered without his father's influence. And then LeBron slipped out the back door. He achieved his historic moment. He secured the photo op, he etched the father-son duo into the history books, and then he made a cold, calculated business decision to leave. Bronny is now left to face the brutal Los Angeles media, a fan base that will quickly turn toxic if the team isn't winning, and a roster full of veterans who are fighting for their own livelihoods and playing time. Bronny has to prove he belongs in the NBA, and he has to do it instantly, completely unprotected, in the bright lights of the Crypto.com arena. It is a terrifying position for a young player, and it is entirely a consequence of his father's relentless pursuit of his own legacy. Now, as we pivot away from the emotional family drama in Los Angeles, we turn our attention to the cold, calculating, and absolutely shocking business transaction that just occurred between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Toronto Raptors. Kawhi Leonard has been traded back to Toronto. Saying those words out loud still feels surreal. To break down this massive trade, we have to examine the motivations of both front offices, starting with the Los Angeles Clippers. Why would Steve Ballmer, a man who desperately wants a win and has deeper pockets than any owner in the sport, trade away his marquee attraction? The answer lies in a combination of terrifying medical charts and financial claustrophobia. Kawhi Leonard is 35 years old. His injury history is not just a red flag. It is an entire parade of red flags. Torn ACLs, meniscus surgeries, chronic knee inflammation. His lower body has been completely ravaged by the grueling nature of NBA basketball. The Clippers were staring down the barrel of Kawhi's massive contract extension. They were looking at the prospect of paying over $50 million a year to a player who simply cannot be relied upon to play 65 regular season games, let alone survive a brutal 2-month playoff run in the Western Conference. Furthermore, the Clippers are trying to pivot. They are trying to build a sustainable future. By trading Kawhi now, they avoided losing him for nothing in free agency or being trapped underneath a debilitating contract that would paralyze their franchise for the rest of the decade. And look at the absolute haul they managed to extract from Toronto. The Clippers did not just dump Kawhi's salary. They orchestrated a masterful extraction of assets. They acquired a legitimate, elite young scorer to build around. They acquired high-level perimeter shooting, and they completely restocked their barren cupboard draft capital with multiple unprotected first-round picks. For a front office that has been scrutinized for trading away their future for Paul George and Kawhi years ago, this trade is a massive course correction. They hit the eject button at the exact right moment, offloading the risk onto someone else. But what about that someone else? What on earth is Masai Ujiri doing in Toronto? To understand a Raptors perspective, you have to understand the psychology of their front office. Masai Ujiri is a man who chases ghosts, and he is specifically chasing the ghost of 2019. We all remember what happened when Toronto traded for Kawhi the first time. It was a massive gamble that resulted in the greatest moment in Canadian basketball history, an NBA championship. Masai Ujiri tasted that ultimate glory, and he is desperately trying to recreate the recipe. The Raptors looked at the landscape of the Eastern Conference and saw an opportunity. They saw a conference that is top-heavy but potentially vulnerable. They believed that their medical staff, the same staff that successfully managed Kawhi's infamous load management in 2019, can once again coax a healthy playoff run out of him. They are betting everything on the idea that when the lights are brightest, Kawhi Leonard is still a Terminator who can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league. But make no mistake, this is one of the most dangerous gambles in modern NBA history. Toronto is not getting the 27-year-old Kawhi Leonard of 2019. They are getting an older, vastly more fragile version of the superstar, and they gave up the farm to get him. They traded away their most promising young wings. They mortgaged their draft future, and they severely handicapped their salary cap flexibility. If this goes wrong, if Kawhi's knee flares up in December and he is shut down for the season, the Toronto Raptors will be plunged into a dark age. They will have no young star to build around, no draft picks to replace him, and no cap space to sign free agents. It is championship or bust, with absolutely zero safety net. This trade highlights the duality of the NBA. On one side, you have the Clippers, operating with cold, ruthless logic, prioritizing long-term flexibility and asset management over sentimental attachment to a star. On the other side, you have the Raptors, operating on pure, unadulterated emotion and nostalgia, rolling the dice on a 35-year-old body because they remember the magic he once brought to their city. These two monumental stories, LeBron's departure and Kawhi's return, perfectly encapsulate everything we love and hate about the NBA. It is a league driven by incredible talent, but governed by unsentimental business decisions. It is a league where a father will orchestrate a historic team-up with his son, only to leave him to the Wolves a short time later when a better opportunity arises. It is a league where a franchise will trade its entire future for the mere chance of reliving a past glory. As we look ahead, the questions are endless. How will Bronny James handle the intense, suffocating pressure being a solo act in Los Angeles? Will the Lakers front office give him a genuine chance? Or will he be buried on the bench and quietly traded away in a salary dump next season? And up in Toronto, can Kawhi Leonard defy medical science one last time? Can he reward Masai Ujiri's incredible faith? Or will this trade be remembered as the final, desperate gasp of a front office that couldn't let go of the past? The landscape of the National Basketball Association has been permanently altered today. We are entering a completely new era, and the dominoes are only just beginning to fall. The free agency market, which had been completely paralyzed waiting for these specific shoes to drop, is about to explode into a frenzy of signings and secondary trades. Teams that thought they were contenders yesterday are now scrambling to reevaluate their rosters in the wake of these seismic shifts. For Bronny James, his true NBA journey begins today. The training wheels have been violently removed, and the spotlight is harsher than ever. His success or failure will no longer be tied to his father's legacy, but to his own resilience, work ethic, and ability to tune out the overwhelming noise of Los Angeles. For the Toronto Raptors, the clock is officially ticking. They have pushed all their chips into the center of the table. Every single time Kawhi Leonard jumps for a rebound, every time he lands awkwardly after a layup, an entire nation will hold its breath. It is the ultimate high-wire act, and we are all guaranteed a front row seat to see if they can make it to the other side. That is going to do it for our deep dive today. If you appreciate this level of detailed, long-form analysis of the business, the psychology, and the strategy of the NBA, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The NBA never sleeps, and neither do we. We will be right back here tracking every rumor, every trade, and every piece of fallout from today's historical events. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I will see you in the next video.